What's up guys, it's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how you can improve your solo performance by analyzing one of the best solo players in the world, and that is Tayson. But before I get into this vibe with you guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. Also, if you wish to support me in another way, use code Talon.fn in the Fortnite item shop, #ad. But without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Tayson's POV. This is going to be analysis of his first place in Solo All-Stars, an incredible performance which has cemented him probably as the best solo player in the world. We're going to take a look at what allowed him to consistently play so high and be successful. Let's just jump right in. Most of this is going to be end-to-end game. You can see here we have a nice conserve pad to start things off. We have one elimination. This is going to be game number 1. Or game number 2, as it's all at the bottom. Apologize. Now notice how we get immediately to that side where zone is hugging us. We get around kind of all of this congestion layers of people. Having this chug cannon is going to be incredibly crucial. This is meta this season. It's pump, AR, or SMG, minis, and then chug cannon. But notice here, boxing up in metal. And this is what Tayson does right here. This is incredibly intelligent. We see a guy making a tarp play. Now what does he do here? He doesn't cycle into the tarp, he maybe tries to get a fry, and then he slows his roll. He sees someone's in his cone. What ends up happening is he gets a refresh by proxy, doesn't get the scar, doesn't worry about it, but gets that launch pad. And he does another conserve pad. Look at all this open space on this left side, but him playing this dead side right here. Incredibly healthy with materials, 5-3-1 going into next, moving. Get an elimination right back on the look back, playing ahead. 22. And then we saw this in the Kanata VOD review most recently, this conserved tarping with wood, when you have these long pulls and you have the mats to do it, but what you want to waste your wood on these rotates because you don't plan on boxing up, but then you're going to see him immediately switch anytime he boxes up. Look, even using a little EJ dashing right here, and then boxes up and hard, right? He's gotten to the front as he can, but wasting the wood, make sure he covers up his top right here. That's very intelligent, so he doesn't get pressured. Now, this is a good example of looking for wind conditions. So he's going to get up to this free layer. He also covers his back to make sure that there isn't anyone up there. And this guy makes this huge mistake, right? Who's more ahead? Tayson. This guy's sitting at the back looking for kills at the backside of zone. Well, Tayson's going to capitalize on that because he's not playing ahead. Hits for like 80 damage. Tayson has a significant amount of mats he's going to crank up. The opponent immediately drops. And he's gifted a free high ground, which he's going to hold to the end. So just a good, smart use of wind condition. Now, he kind of had an inkling to go back up in case anyone was challenging, which ended up not being the case. So he drops back down to what he's already built, which is also smart because it gives him a little bit of time to have those builds stay in place so that when he jumps on them, they're not first built in case he gets pressured, which he doesn't. Gets a one-tap elimination on that opponent and then tanks a little bit. But he has chug cannon, right? So taking a little bit of storm is not an issue. It's 300 materials. And then he's just going to sit back and fry as he can. Now we get a little bit more head, creating a better angle. A little bit better reload management in this situation would have probably netted a little bit more kills. He jumps all the way down. It's actually a 1v1. Some bad aim here, but good cutoff. That's good piece control, recognizing where the opponent's going to be. But with 200 mats, you should still be pretty confident that he's going to win this situation. They both have chug cannon. This is smart. He sees that opponent breaking that tree. Probably little to no mats. So what does Tayson do? Take away what little mats this guy has left. The guy ends up actually sitting in the back of zone. Gets a nice little crack of 25. And because he has chug cannon again, he's just confident to sit back. Gets a little tip back. Intelligent. Just the story of that first game is looking for that win condition. And just when he got into that the portion where he kind of went to the tarp, it was slow and methodical. Yes, he got gifted a launch pad by someone pretty much just jumping inside of the cone in the box right next to him. But the patience in that rotate is what allowed that to be so successful. He kind of waited to let something to develop in front of him. Then he went in to go and recycle it. Realized that he didn't get the fry that he wanted to recycle that tarp. He waited a little bit more. Something fortunately came is where we got the launch pad, and then just good looking for win condition as he got towards maybe like 7th zone. He still had a good amount of mats. He catches someone not paying attention, fries him in the back, keeps him on height, sits all the way up there, and then wins the 1v1. All right, game number 3, 51 people. Sees a launch pad, very incredibly useful to be recycling launch pads, especially in these stack situations. Now again, this is going to be just sometimes, things happen to you that are very beneficial. Look at this. This guy just drops down and is incredibly weak, and he's able to one-tap him. Now he's going in almost with cap mats. Good use of the launch pad to get good conserve pads. We don't see very many high pads for Tayson now. That unfortunately kind of got blocked off for him. So he decides to play low. And again, notice boxing up always in hards when he has it. He's like, maybe do I want a pad? No. And then he realizes he could just free rotate. And then it's immediately that wood. Now what ends up happening, he gets focused a little bit. And then immediately switch back to hard on that side. But your goal is to kind of save your hards for late. And this was a big thing in the Kanata VOD review. And this is incredibly true. But look, rotating with wood. We see if anyone's in there. And then immediately, once we get where we want to be, we double box and hard. This is also something. Once you get to the end of zone, double boxing and hard will create so many angles on players that are shambles low ground and make it so easy for you to get a refresh. If people are slapping on your wall and you control all these walls, most likely they're not going to have mats. They're going to be incredibly low mats, and you can take advantage of that. Also has another pad. Now, I think a minor mistake right here from Tayson is just assuming. Notice how there's no looking up, because you don't know the topography of the builds. I think maybe if he remembered from previously, but it doesn't hurt to just take a quick look before you pad. But fortunately, nothing above him, so you can go from pretty much backside to front. And then he's going to go from a low layer to a very good high layer of metal. Sees the opponent just trying to get in. Gets the elimination on his now teammate Ref's guard, and this is a good decision. He pushes over. He makes sure he blocks off all his angles. He goes from a green tack to a blue pump. See a very good increase in mats. And then we start using our mats. We actually don't use our wood here. We wanted to use the hard mats. He's actually going to just kind of switch up the style just a little bit. Maybe because it's later on. Because these points are much more crucial towards the end. To get as many hard mats as you can, blocking off any angles. Someone's on his cone. And this is just going to be another good example of patience. He doesn't really force anything. He's finally going to get blessed with a good zone. So he's going to go back into a lot of old builds. He gets fried right here, and that's just sometimes just the crux of being a wood late. And that's kind of why I was surprised. For most of the time, he had been saving his hard mats for later portions, but that time, that's what sometimes can happen in late game. Doesn't force anything right here in particular. Again, look, sees all that loot and just baits it. Good crack. The opponent actually has a pretty good reaction time. Covers his back here smartly in case that opponent funnels through. And we don't have a lot of mats, but we're making it work. And we're going to get another fortune zone after bad zones. Early on, we're getting gifted late. With zones, kind of push on through again to our old tarp. It's pretty straightforward. He's sitting here, resetting and moving. And this is just patience, right? If you have this tarp already established, these points are so valuable, these top 5 points, for every little placement you get. So you want to sit here as long as you possibly can. You don't really need to go anything if you have protection in 9th. You hear Chug Cannon, right? So your goal is, I'm probably not going to win this game because Chug Cannon's still in play. Now he sees a med kit here, and that's also a smart play to try and go, but you're going to see is the opponent kind of, I think, heard him taking the med kit as you see as he moves there. Now, for some reason, didn't just psycho in. He just decided to kind of leave it. And then he just ends up to full send the guy on low, 70. Wins the aim duel. Gets siphon mats. Now try a little bit of panic. He finally does have it, so he drops all of his minis. Could have maybe dropped the sub 4. I didn't see him use it the entire time. But again, it's endgame panic, night zone, humongous tournament, so can't really fault him for being a little bit. But we've milked this as about as great as we can. We've made it into a 1v1 situation. Opponent with a gold pad just drops down who's full HP on height. Incredible stuff from Tayson. Just the theme of that game is patience in the rotation. We saw just a good knowledge of positioning where to be, and then going for that refresh, incredibly important. Yes, gifted a little bit just with some zones late, which is sometimes the name of the game. You know, early probably wasn't gifted with the zones. Launch pads being back, it's not a completely hopeless situation. He used that correctly all the time. Layer switches, all very good. Didn't ever really psycho in for anything, and he just melted that second place. That's just good, smart, intelligent gameplay. Let's get into the next game. All right, we are next game, game number 4. We're at 2-2-2. This game we don't have launch pads, but we do have peppers. What was the meta last season for rotation. We fry this opponent off our same layer, but we see there's a launch pad. We still take pepper just in case this gets coned off or blocked. It's always smart to just take your peppers and moving, especially on long pulls like this. You see almost the entire lobby is padding. He's able to get a recycle. Unfortunately, that happens, but that's the name of the game. Notice you get here. Notice how he doesn't win that congestion. He's going to sit here and kind of wrap around. So this free space, this is where he wants to get. He even goes to an kind of an ultimate low layer. But with him being peppers, he's playing his loadout, in my opinion, right? Like, you don't really care being on low because with mats and peppers, because you can just sit back and go far ahead, and then you're going to see some of this patience throughout these rotations. Get double box, exactly same thing I talked about earlier. We double box where we kind of want to sit. If we have anyone come on our angles, we have a lot of space controlled, right? We have essentially 6 tiles, 6 walls to play with to capture people or do whatever is needed. Now get another kind of bad pull. But due to the pepper, it's actually going to be fantastic. Immediately switches to wood, right? Mats we don't really care about. 54. And then as soon as we box up, hard, right? Mat switching, incredibly important, especially at the highest level. And because we're on a pepper, we can just sit here and let all this stuff develop, look for impacts, whatever we need to do. We try to force one. Then we realize, oh god, we're out in the open. And we box up immediately and hard. Looking for anything that we can. Don't really find anything. We go, okay, time to go through. Conserve tarps. Switch up to a very clean layer. 168. And then we finally get in. Last little box up. Fantastic. Catch this opponent. We fry this opponent. And then look what do we see? The holy grail of this season, which is the chug cannon. So we're going to realize we're going to shoot through and be like, oh god, that's 100% worth to go grab. Now, unfortunately, he gets cracked for a little bit, but again, hey, we have chug cannon, it's okay, and we finally pull a favorable zone after 2 pretty unfavorable zones. Getting sprayed from high ground. And again, this is chug cannon, it's just so good. Immediately just drops the opponents on our layer. Tack endgame also incredibly underrated. One of the best things you can also do with having this gold tack is spray through builds, wood builds, get through situations. It's fantastic for box diving. It's really strongest purple and gold tacks endgame. Gets in, make sure he gets ahead, not a big concern. Again, taking damage, chug cannon. At any time we're already in, so we're not gonna worry about taking a little bit of zone. Now 11 builds. Don't really force anything, and we get kind of a pullback zone. Sit here on a right-hand peak, getting sprayed with a scar, so we're like, nope, we're going to go a different angle. Again, chug cannon allows you to tank zone and to get into better positions. That's going to lengthen your games and get you those big point games. Now gets in a horrible situation, ducks back. Look, just milking placement, looking around. Something I want to talk about right there. This is a little thing, right? This is a little thing, but this is planning your rotations out. Look what he does here. He pickaxes both walls to look through and see where the best optimal way to go is, which is something you could definitely do in wood. You know, just hit it once, kind of see where you want to go. And he decides to go down. Then and this is what the tack is really, really good for. It's just basically spamming, trying to get in. But we have no mats. Or we have 3 builds, actually. Take quite a bit of zone. We sit here and wait for one time. We milked it into a top 5. And then we just get fried out in the bush. We don't really have any options to cycle in, and that's a GG's. But again, we milked that placement use of peppers, fantastic, and that important refresh. Getting the chug cannon, and again, 2 favorable zones more towards the end, allowed him to milk out that placement. Pretty standard stuff, just kind of waited. Only 1 elimination, right? These games aren't huge W King 20 bombs. It's just patiently waiting, methodically going through builds, milking out placement, and chug cannon is a big reason for that. Let's get in the next game. Let's continue into this last game. Again, we're going to first moving. 32 below, so surge is an issue. Fortunate little tag right there. Now this is a pretty dangerous rotation. He's on ultimate low with almost a near max pull, but he's doing a good job of kind of hugging and finding this free space. And he's actually got a pretty good lane. He's making sure to cover his head with wood use. We talked about this through the entire VOD review about material switching, but him getting to the side has been super clear. He's getting little tags as he can for surge. Gets on a very good layer, and then as soon as he boxes up, fantastic recognition that opponent's on that wall. The opponent was much more concerned about healing. So Tayson capitalizes right here, and then, like I said before, immediately when he boxes up, switches to hard, edits through, sees the opponent is there. Now, more than likely what he's going to do is create a ton of space with his extra mats, gets blue pump and chug cannon, which he's already had. And then he's using all these mats to create a lot of space in the zone, which makes it incredibly easy for him to go any which direction. Huge pickup. He's good for his surge now. Still no mobility, but fantastic mats, sitting over 1,000. And he's got chug cannon. And then rotating with the wood. And same thing, this is more lateral, right? It's getting to that side. Like, look at all this open space. And instead of just beelining it right through all the builds, Tayson goes to and hugs the storm side. And it's a good elevation switch as well. Connecting up here. Now he's moving almost a second height. Now he's afraid he's going to get a little bit more pressured. He wanted to switch to wood right there. Or brick. Now someone comes underneath him. Now, incredibly fortunate that this happens. This was kind of honestly a little bit of a mistake. So he gets right here. He's getting pressured off, and that wood gets right here. He gets cracked in the back as he fades through. Now he hears someone underneath. He tries to edit out. The opponent actually gets there. Honestly, at that point, you probably should try to pre-fire a break because you have to turn around completely. Tayson, the 1-2 misses a shot. Hits 117, and the 2 misses another shot. So very, very fortunate to be in that situation. And then he gets a refresh of mats, which I don't believe he even goes back and gets. But he ends up just full tarping right here. Now this is a great little peek that he's been consistently doing. He does this double box thing. You're going to see great layer of what I'm talking about eventually here, I think, where he basically creates a ramp behind his head and uses it to peek through for refreshes. This is really good with hard mats as well. Trying to look for height. And again, same thing. Once we get where we want to be, double box to create a lot of angles. Get another pull. We drop. And then we stay ahead with our impacts. We've also still have 500 mats. Now gets in wood. This is what I'm talking about right here. He creates that little ramp right here to kind of look. This one gives him information at height while being protected, but in case anyone falls down, he can flip the ramp, get a quick elimination. You see, he's going to use that here to make an attempt to challenge height. The opponent takes no damage, so doesn't even worry about it. And then conserve tarping with the wood. Same exact thing with this little ramp peak. Incredibly important. It's a bad bloom or bad aim, one of the two. Probably bad bloom really looked more like. Gets 31. And like we see some better reload management. Honestly, just was a minor thing that just stuck out of me. The reload management wasn't as good as it could have been. Just a lot of times that a lot of free standing open people just weren't being finished because the AR reload management was not as good as it could have been. But he gets kind of a pull back. And as you can see, paying attention to height. Do I want to go for height? 200 builds. Should I make the attempt? Nope. And the opponent, as he tries to jump down, probably being in wood, would excite him to try and pressure Tayson. Sees the opponent on his own stair. Opponent drops. He gets a nice quick little pickup. Now I was a little bit surprised he didn't drop down for those materials, but he's going to just clutch up with no mats here. Good crosshair placement right there. Now this is going to be just a blessing as well. The opponent has no mats, and then right as he pushes Tayson, gets fried. Opponent jumps in, misses his pump shot. Tayson ends up winning, easily dominating multiple top fives. I believe was a first place, a second place, and I believe 2 fifth places or 1 fifth place. Incredible stuff, incredible consistency coming out through Tayson. Probably the best solo player in the world. You saw the rotations on display. He made a max pull ultimate low ground work just by getting to the side that was not congested. Great utilization of mats when getting the refreshes he needs. All that basic stuff. But you just see the calm, the presence of mind, the intelligence, when to wait back versus when to go. He's found chug cannon every game. I don't know if he's got a glitch or he's just using some sort of hack or something to do llamas, maybe doing like the llamas from Spawn Island and maybe landing his land around there, because it truly does give you that significant amount of advantage. Even in games when he didn't have launch pads, he had peppers. He made that last game work, which was just incredible how he was able to clutch that out. Overall, just some big takeaways. It's just rotational patience is the kind of thing that just really stuck out to me the most, especially in that first game. Instead of just forcing things like forcing a 50-50, burning all your mats early, he kind of would get to the front side and like wait a bit, be a little bit passive, let something come his way. He gets that launch pad in that first game, which he conserves pad to dead side, and he pretty much holds it the rest of the time, and then makes an intelligent height play. Just the patience. Biggest thing for this VOD review is patience overall. That is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.